we have time for just about a couple of questions. So if you have a burning question, please raise your hand and we will try to answer your question. Look at the next page. Okay. Oh, yes. Yes. Ogunjobi. Oh, I've got 3 here. Yeah. So we'll have Ogunjobi, then Na, Chocho, and then Sahid. In that order, please. Thank you.
Good evening to everyone. I don't know if my own question is a burning one, but I think it's a simple one. I just want to ask if a local organization coordinate a local NGO in Nigeria here. What we do might not be directly related to diaspora or migration as such, but I believe it is tangentially related. We work in the area of skill acquisition, empowerment of community dwellers, especially the marginalized community dwellers. In this, we have a lot of migrants who are coming to community groups. They don't have skills, they don't have jobs. We also incorporate them to give them skills, to give them jobs, that make them to be employable in the community and the society which they find themselves. I want to ask if such an organization can be part of GDC.
This is a very good question. Thank you, Ogunjobi. We do have a working definition for diaspora organizations to have specific focus on diaspora communities. So you have to have diaspora communities and your focus will need to be there. But more detail, I would very much like to invite you to our website for that working definition. And we are always progressing this working definition to be as inclusive as possible. So if there is any, do watch out and do keep in touch so that when we launch our membership next year, you will be able to see more too. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. We go to Na next, please.
Hello. Thank you for both inviting me and for organizing this event. On behalf of the National Council of Ghanaian Unions, now National Congress of Ghanaian Unions in the UK, which is an umbrella body for all the Ghanaian unions in the UK, I wanted to find out how the GDC is placed in terms of helping build the capacity of country-specific organizations like ours. And also, I think someone asked the question earlier, do we have to be members of GDC? And if so, what's the criteria? What do we need to do apart from being a diaspora organization? What are the requirements?
Thank you very much. A wonderful question again, because we have taken a lot of time to plan our membership structure, not just a flat structure, but a lot of ways we can create a GDC system for diaspora organizations to progress within the system and promote and be recognized even further. So this is a way that we want to roll out next year. And this is one. We do have 2 types of affiliation, shall we say. So one is non-member. We call it affiliates, but there is non-member associates as well. And that is diaspora organizations that are not registered. For those who are registered and also meet the other requirements, then they become our full members. And then from full members, we move up to senior member, fellowship, and etc. And later on, because the board also need to refresh from time to time, and we have gaps, we have rooms for this kind of progression. So we see this kind of a sustainable way to do so. But in terms of the country coordination, from the very beginning, first step, as you already can see, GDC is quite new, 8 days old. So we are still very much coordinating at a global scale, at global level first. Then later on, we're looking at the continental coordination, and then move on to the perhaps more specific regional or country coordination. But it requires, as I heard a speaker earlier on said, it does require a lot of you amazing job, amazing work to help us represent. GDC itself can't do everything. So I hope we could provide more opportunities for diaspora organizations to step up and help us do this kind of coordination too. So lots of great things coming up. Do stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We move on to Sahid. Unfortunately, we have time for just this last question because the interpreters have to finish. So I'm so sorry, Dr. Senesi and Ambassador Fletcher. Please post your questions in the chat by all means, and we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Sahid,
So
please.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I just want to appreciate and acknowledge, the facilitators. It takes a lot to put all this together and actually representing the diaspora as a unified voice. Thank you so much. Encourage you to continue to move forward. I would love to ask, what is the plan of GDC with regards to, young adult engagement, in this process? Because, it's very clear that, one of the things that we really do not embrace much is the transitioning process of, founders or leaders when it comes to, platforms like this. That's one. Second question as well is, talking about the diaspora, we also understand how important it is our indigenous, roots actually and culture plays a strong role in advancement of our cause. So what are some of the thoughts of GDC in incorporating culture, the diverse culture engagements, outside of just the common, concerns that actually affect us, both from, social political to other matters, as it were. And of course, the last question is, in terms of your global engagement, are there plans to actually work hand in hand with national organizations that represent, countries within each, country across the globe? And how do you intend to facilitate that process? Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the question. And I probably won't be able to speak on behalf of everything because we've got the amazing trustees who help out in different regions as well, continents. I think one thing, let's start with the very last question in terms of partnering with or working with local governments or national governments. I think this is fantastic. We are already having a very amazing support from the European Union, Global Diaspora Facility, who also joined us as observer this week. And we also want to strengthen partnerships, not only regionally, but also with country governments. This is something that is in mind, and thanks very much for mentioning. Next year is indeed this plan. So, and then going to the cultural aspect, I think, for example, last year we had a joint statement published in solidarity for those affected by xenophobia. This is one of the examples. We want to do more. But first, of course, we need to consult. We need to listen and listen enough to know what exactly and how we need to, what kind of direction we are moving towards. But at the same time, inclusivity, global cohesion are the two very main aspects while we remain the diversity. So having all these words in mind, important, but it's more about how we deliver. And we just want to make sure that we take the time and the proper steps to work with specific or all diaspora organizations so that we can provide a solution that's appreciated by a lot of diaspora organizations. So in terms of culture aspect, the joint statement, there is no specific, we're not talking about a specific race, not specific community, but it is in solidarity. So this is the whole point. I think it's a very good step, but what's next? How much more we can do, how far we can go, I think is a question we also want to come together again to discuss and answer. Yeah, so that's the second question. And I apologize, I probably forgot the first question already. Would you mind reminding me?
Yeah, so the first question is, the GDC plan, of young adults inclusion in this process and how you intend to transition, the sustainability of this vision to them.
Absolutely. So to sustain GDC, am I right to think that?
Yeah, specifically with reference to young adults engagements and in the process with you.
Great, fantastic. If I interpret correctly, so more about this succession plan. There was a comment earlier this week about there are diaspora organizations that are new. There are some who's established for decades. So different type of experience. They bring in different expertise, energies. But our point is not to be biased on specific diaspora organization, but really to inspire and to encourage more involvement. It doesn't matter how young the person or the organization, but more about whether we all share the vision and how we can deliver it. So succession plan is a huge thing for diaspora organization, especially, for example, I run the diaspora organization. I also face a lot of these things. So yeah, I share the concern and also the question. This is something we have embedded into our membership structure, where we have the GDC 21 divided into different continents, the 6 continents, and then each continent will be able to, in queue and then moving up, will be able to elected by the board. The board will prioritize itself in terms of so if the board does not have anyone from a particular continent, we may prioritize our opportunity for that first. And that is how we want to ensure the inclusivity. But in terms of the age-wise, I don't think this is something that we would concern. I mean, it's nothing to, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. I think I will just give Ambassador Fletcher 10 seconds to pass on a congratulatory comment.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Because I am not a diaspora organization, but I represent a diaspora office where we deal with policy, I want to say to you that the work that you guys are doing, it is beyond important. It is beyond giving all the thanks that I can for it. Thank you so much. Beyond Ianola is part of us. I'm from St. Lucia, and we are pushing, working with IOM. To me, what you're doing is like IOM and GFMD, whom we push to work with and partner with. I think what you're doing is can help offices like mine a big time in reaching out and engaging and meeting the diaspora, creating the proper policies, being able to have the right conversations. I need to say to you, thank you very, very much. Keep up the brilliant work. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I think we all agree that we definitely needed to hear that. Yes, so thank you again, everyone, for your kind messages and wishes throughout the week. Keep sharing your key takeaways with us by following us on social media and using the hashtag Global Diaspora Week tab. Our handle on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is @GDComeTogether. As the first Global Diaspora Week ends, we would like to remind you that GDC's work is by no means finished. This is just the start, and we would encourage you to keep the conversation going. We are coming to the conclusion of this event, and on behalf of the GDC chair, we would like to register our sincere and heartfelt thanks to the Deputy Director General of IOM, the Honorable Ms. Daniels, for taking time out of a very packed schedule to deliver the keynote address today. We appreciate you, ma'am. I thank with no less rigor the International Board of Trustees that GDC is fortunate enough to have for all their hard work this past year. To our GDC volunteers and colleagues, our biggest thanks and appreciation goes to you. You have sacrificed a lot, including in some cases, as already mentioned, staying up late and joining meetings at very ungodly hours, just to make all of this work. To the organizing team and all those who work behind the scenes, we thank you bigly for the countless hours that you have poured into the Global Diaspora Week and in the months leading up to the week. None of this would have been possible without your hard work, dedication, and passion for this cause. So please know that you are appreciated. We also thank all our diaspora organizations for their presence, participation, and contribution so far. We hope that this is just the beginning of a very fruitful, meaningful, and collaborative partnership. Thank you all once again for joining us, and we wish you wonderful holiday season and all the very best for 2022. Over to you, Peter.
Oh, I just want to say thank you again, Clara, for all your help. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And as Clara said, we'll be compiling all the questions you have, and feel free to get in touch. We've got a lot of different ways of curating to us. The whole point is for us to listen to you and work with you. So if you've got any ideas, any thoughts, anything you would like to share, or even maybe during the evening you feel alone, just come to us. This is what we're here for. So thank you again, and thank you IOM for all the support today and beyond.
Thank you everyone. I think we're all free to go unless you have questions to post in the chat, in which case we would leave it open for another 5 minutes or so. Thank you.